A decision on the future of Peel Region could be coming very soon, according to Premier Doug Ford, who yesterday threw his support behind an independent Mississauga. So for more on this, we're joined live this afternoon by Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie. Mayor Crombie, good to see you this afternoon to talk about this issue. The Premier hinting pretty strongly we're going to hear something about this week. This has been a long time coming. What would this mean to Mississauga and your residents if you could separate from Peel Region?
So it has a big impact on us for sure. Let's start with, we have funded the region of Peel for the past 50 years. There was a time that we were providing 70% of the funding for the region of Peel, notwithstanding only had 50% of the vote. Now with Brampton's growth, we're now funding, it was 66%, now it's 60%. So we're still funding the vast majority of the region of Peel's growth. And in addition to that, we transfer $84 million a year to Brampton for roads, planning, and for policing. So we're actually paying for the majority of policing services that are used in Brampton. So this gives my residents the opportunity to invest our DCs, and DCs are our development charges, and our tax dollars into our own priorities, into our own growth, into our own programs and services, rather than transfer them to the region or to the municipalities of Brampton and Caledon.
How soon, if this does go ahead, and we understand perhaps it's coming this Thursday, how soon would the benefits be obvious in Mississauga?
I will say there could be some transition costs, but we've done the studies. We have an Ernst Young report that shows us that within a decade, we'll be $1 billion ahead. So this is pretty significant for my taxpayers. For sure that, you know, there are priorities that are underfunded here in Mississauga that we could put that money to.
Is there any sense at all that there would be any shared services, or would this be a complete break with, you know, Mississauga going one direction and Brampton and Caledon, you know, completely being separate? Would there be any, like policing, I'm thinking, hospital, healthcare, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, the hospitals are separate, but let's start with policing. I think that Peel Regional Police should remain intact, but I think there are different payment models. For instance, OPP is a pay-for-service model, and I think that's the model we should go to. Right now, it's assessment-based, so Mississauga is penalized because, of course, we have 100,000 businesses. We have more population. We have more revenue. So because we have the larger assessment, we pay more. But yet, the policing needs are greater in Brampton, so it should be a user pay system. Now, with respect to water, wastewater, waste, etc., those could be put into a utility run by an outside board, much like Electra and your electricity distributor is today. So a lot of opportunities for that, and that would be a user pay system. So it's very neat and tidy in my mind, very easy to execute. We're ready and we're waiting, and we know that facilitators will come in as soon as the legislation is announced, and we're being signaled that it could be as early as later this week. And when the facilitators come in, they'll make those decisions on how to divide up the assets and the liabilities and how to move into different forms of payment structures for the utilities.
I mean, it sort of sounds like a divorce, just in a different sort of scale, of course. And that kind of a signal, though, the significance of that signal from Premier Doug Ford saying yesterday he supports it, just how important and significant is that?
It's extremely important. It's important to me. It's important to the residents of Mississauga. Frankly, it should be important to the residents of Brampton as well. I would suggest to you they would want to be independent. They would want to stand on their own 2 feet, and they would want to control their own destiny, much the way we here in Mississauga do. We don't want to have to go to a different level of government where there's overlap and duplication and red tape and things move slower. We can't facilitate permits any faster because of all the duplication, extra cost that exists. And we need to seek the approval of 2 other municipalities on our development applications and our own priorities. Surely they would want what we want, to make timely decisions, make them quick, be efficient, get rid of the red tape, get rid of the duplication, make your own decisions without seeking the approval of a different municipality in doing so.
All right, well, we'll definitely be keeping our eyes west of the city later this week and see what comes. That is Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie live on Live at Noon, crossing her fingers there indeed. Thanks for the time this afternoon.
Thanks very much for having me.